What's good? So I wanted to bring this unit back. The last time I showed off this unit was probably about 8 or 9 months ago, and I haven't really tested it since then with the upgraded categories and leader skills. I figured the time would be good because the agility metacooler unit's out on global, so I know this guy is probably pulled on the banners quite a bit. So before you make any dumb decisions, let me show you what it is at 100% potential. So of course I'm talking about the Extreme Intelligence Final Form Cooler unit, and it does start out with the SR, and then Dokkan awakens into the SSR or UR version. Now this card technically does drop in the story event, however it's horrendous in terms of drop rates. You think the Yamcha drop rates are bad? This one's even worse. Plus the metal grind itself is pretty hard, pretty painstakingly time consuming, I guess is the best way to put it. But let's go ahead and talk about the leader skill and stats and whatnot. We'll get into the actual gameplay. Before I start, I will go ahead and say this. It's not worth the rainbow. Just go ahead and tell you that right now. The only reason why I did this a long time ago was because this unit was one of the first cards in the game that I had. So as somewhat of a tribute, I went ahead and rainbowed the unit. That's really the only reason why. And besides it being a collector's card or something, there's not really any value with this besides maybe SA fodder for either the the base form cooler unit or the final form, whichever. Everything else besides that is merely for collections, okay? Alright, so leader skill, tech and intelligence type, attack increase of 25%. Super attack will cause extreme damage to enemies. So remember, it is extreme damage. In terms of the passive skill, it's also pretty horrendous, and it'll signify how old this unit is. Attack and defense increase of 1500 at the start of the turn. Let me repeat that. It's 1500 flat rate attack and defense increase. That's it. Not even a marginal percent based. In terms of links, you are looking at Strongest Clan in Space. That is +2 Ki. Thirst for Conquest is 15% to attack. Prodigies is 10% to attack. And Big Bad Bosses is attack and defense increase of 25% when HP is 80% or below. So at least this unit does have Thirst for Conquest and Prodigies. Strongest Clan in Space definitely does help in terms of Ki. Alright, now for the categories. Movie Bosses, Transformation Boost, and Wicked Bloodline. So in previous months, the Wicked Bloodline was called the Most Malevolent Clan. I guess the official name is Wicked Bloodline. I like personally the movie boss category set up a little bit better, so that is what you're seeing right now. And in terms of the stats at Rainbow, you're looking at HP of 11,722, attack of 9,689, and defense is going to be 6,524. 12 Ki Multiplier is actually not bad. It's 140%. However, this unit is absolute garbage. For as trash as the unit is, it's actually not doing bad, but at the same time, it's really not worth the potential orbs. Again, I did it just for the collection within my deck. That's pretty much it. Again, like I said, the only reason why I did it was one of the first units in the game for me, so as a tribute, I wanted to rainbow the unit. That's pretty much it. Now, I don't know, in terms of the future, what the future holds, I don't know if there's going to be some sort of Dokkan Awakening for this guy or not. I highly doubt it. I think this unit was merely meant for SA fodder for the other units, because at the end of the day, there are plenty of other versions of Cooler that are much better than this guy. Even the World Tournament version is a great unit, and that's actually worthwhile, the Rainbows. I have that unit at 100% potential and actually run him quite a bit, especially since he's able to help out extreme agility or even agility type units with the passive skill of 40% to attack and defense. It's quite helpful. Plus that unit does have Thirst for Conquest and various other link skills like Big Bad Bosses and I think Shadow Limit and stuff like that. So it's definitely a very good card. Of course, the physical version, Dokkan Fest, is hands down a very good unit. There's nothing else that needs to be said besides that, but you know, this one is definitely the bottom out of the tier list in terms of the different versions of Final Form Cooler. But you know, at the end of the day, it's kind of nice to be able to see these units at 100% potential, see them really on their best settings, because that's pretty much what I did here is, you know, I ain't gonna front. I pretty much brought in a ton of support units and pretty much tried to boost the attack as much as possible. Now, there are some rotations where you saw the unit without any support, but for the most part, you are going to see, you know, at least a Golden Frieza provide attack increase of 30% based on the super attack. Not only that, but also both an attack and defense increase as part of the passive skill. Now, Turles also provides an equally, if not better, you know, passive support and link skills like Thirst for Conquest and stuff like that. So, you know, it definitely does add up quite a bit in terms of how much of a boost that the unit's actually getting. But, you know, for such an old unit, it needs all the boost it can get. So, unfortunately here, it was a Dokkan mode, but for some reason, like with luck, it ended up being the type disadvantage against Vegeta Blue. But, you know, if he gets a critical, it'll be alright. If not, you know, it's not the end of the world. I mean, in terms of, you know, this unit's performance, I don't think anyone's surprised here how horrible it actually is. Now, I say that, but the output is still okay. In my consideration, it's not too bad. However, you know, the amount of grind it takes, the amount of potential orbs it's going to cost, it's not worth it, especially since he is getting a lot of help from other support units. So, you know, in that regard, it's probably not worthwhile for you. Again, this merely was just a way to really see how high his attack stats will actually get to. And regardless of, you know, how many other support units were used or whatnot, it doesn't really matter. That was the whole, you know, agenda and goal of this video, was to see, you know, how much he could actually hit for on the best settings. So last time I did this was with the movie boss category team. However, it was with the Turles Double E. So there's been a couple of better units that came out since then, especially on the supporting side. So not only does the Super Saiyan Broly from the Dragon Ball Super movie provide a higher boost individually, but also you've got units like the Golden Frieza unit that's free to play, provides an attack increase based on super attack as well as the passive skills. So, you know, the links are also pretty good with that unit too, and works out pretty well with the cooler unit. So, you know, there's been some changes. Again, like I said, it's been about 8 months since I last did a showcase on this unit, so I wanted to do an updated version, especially right now because I know a lot of people are pulling the SR version of this unit, and you know, I think it's at the end of the day, you know, no card is completely useless in my opinion. I think it's always good to have, you know, the at least one copy saved. You know, max SA. You know, if you want to go ahead and unlock the due pass, go ahead and do that. If not, you know, just keep the 4 extra copies in reserve. I mean, there's no harm in keeping it in the deck. You know what I mean? So at some point, you never know. These units do get Dokkan Awakens. Like, you know, a good example was, it's been a while now, but the Super Saiyan Bardock unit that was the SR version. For some reason, I kept that unit and kept raising the SA, and then, you know, come to find out, it awakens into a very good unit, which was the Super Saiyan 3 Bardock unit. So things like that could definitely happen. So you really do. I mean, it's definitely a good idea to keep it in, you know, keep it in reserve. If you don't plan on using it, just keep it there just in case. I mean, that's probably, you know, my biggest advice with that. But back to the cooler unit. Again, this guy sucks because what kills him is really that passive skill. 1500 to attack and defense at the start of turn. That is pretty bad. I mean, yeah. I mean, if you're looking at a max stat of, you know, 10,000. I mean, 1,500. I mean, you can do the math on that one. That's like 15%. You know, it's not great. So, you know, it is what it is. But I really don't see this guy getting any sort of Dokkan Awakening at all. I mean, I just don't see it happening. You know, actually, though, if you think about it, there is a lot of speculation about Golden Week coming up. You know, if for those that aren't aware, it's a pretty big holiday event during this time of the month. You know, like end of April, early May. Basically, what happens during that week is people tend to travel back home and visit families and stuff like that. So it's a pretty big week for a lot of people. You know, a lot of travel involved and whatnot. But back to the point being, there's a lot of speculation about the LR Golden Cooler being the Dokkan Fest unit for that. Now, if something like that happens, maybe a Golden Cooler comes out from Dragon Ball Heroes. If that happens, maybe this guy gets the Dokkan Awaken. But for the time being, I don't see that happening, but you know, it could certainly be a possibility. But I highly doubt it. I think this is the best they'll ever get. But you never know with Dokkan Battle. At some point, things get improved, or things have to get improved. So you know, it is what it is. But again, this is pretty much the showcase that I wanted to do on the updated version of Teams. 100% potential of the Extreme Intelligence Final Form Cooler unit. So as always, I do appreciate you watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll certainly catch you guys later. All right, peace out.